You ready? Hello, and thank you for stopping by the Stuff I Heard podcast. This is your host, Joshua Peak. Hey, everybody. Hey, how are you? How are y'all doing? All you gals and guys and non-binary folk. I've heard Joe Rogan say that. How's everybody doing? It's been a while. Just a few days since we spoke last. I did all the speaking, of course, because I can't hear you on this end of the microphone. But anyway, to the few of you who are listening, thank you for stopping by. I would like to talk a little bit about Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is coming up around the corner. Oh, the joy. I went to Sam's today to do a little bit of shopping. I needed some stuff, obviously. And that place was a madhouse. Now, I gotta be honest, I normally go to Sam's early in the morning when they first open the doors, just so I can get in and get out before the place gets busy. Because I hate crowds of people. It makes me crazy. And I went in there to buy my stuff kind of late in the afternoon. It was probably 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, something like that. And it was packed. I had a hard time finding a parking space, which is crazy. But then walking around the store was just frantic. There's a lot of people. All you people at Sam's, what are you doing at Sam's? Why are you at Sam's? I mean, I get it. You're there doing the same thing I'm doing, shopping. But come on, jeez. There's so many of you that are just wandering around. But anyway, I was able to get in and get my stuff and get out of there. While I was in there today, the butcher was bringing out some cowboy steaks. Now, I'm not exactly accurate on this, but I think a cowboy steak is what it says. A cowboy steak, which is a ribeye with the bone in. Sort of looks like something Fred Flintstone would order and make his car tilt over when they finally deliver it. It's a giant steak. I'll tell you what, I'll put a picture right here. At the 2-minute mark of what the steak looks like. So if you're checking on YouTube, you'll be like, oh my god, that's a good looking steak. Or if you follow me on Instagram, you can see it there. JATATPEEK. I put up pictures. But anyway, the steak was 20 bucks, roundabouts. And you get like 3 pounds of meat with a bone in. Now, I've talked before about the fact that I think the tomahawk steak is a gimmick. That it's, buy this because it's neat looking. And that you would be better off just buying the 3-pack of ribeyes from Sam's, which I did get also, because I'm going to eat those. But I wanted to go ahead and get this and cook it tonight, mainly because my wife is out of town. My wife has her sister come to visit, and they went with some friends up to Charlotte to do some shopping at the Merry Marketplace thing that they have up there in Charlotte. Now, this is sort of a tradition that they've been doing for a while. Some of her girlfriends from the gym get together, and Cindy goes, my wife's sister, and they have a good time. They do some shopping, they do some hanging out, but more than anything, it's just bonding time for the girls, for them to kind of get away from husbands and families and all that crap and just kind of be sociable and silly and also do a little bit of shopping. And they've done that. They went yesterday after work and spent the night up there, got to hang out together, and then did some shopping today, and now they're on the way back soon. And of course, it's about 7 o'clock at night now, and Charlotte's about 2.5 hours away. So it'll be kind of late when they come home, but it's fine. You know, it's good to do that kind of stuff. It's good to have some family time or some friend time, you know. So, yay. I was going to say my coffee gotten better, but then I go and cough. Sorry about that. Anyway, I've spent the day kind of just relaxing. I normally have 1,000 things lined up, which I'm sure you guys have heard me talk about. Wake up and just hit the ground running. Today I did not. Today I just kind of wanted to relax. I wanted to go visit my mom, see my stepdad, and just see where the day took me. I knew it eventually I had to get together and get my stuff together and go to Sam's to get what we needed. But in the meanwhile, I could go and run some errands and just kind of visit, you know what I mean? So I texted Mom this morning while I was making coffee and sausages and said, what are you doing? She's like, I'm busy, I got stuff to do. I'm like, ugh. And she starts telling me about how she's got a lot of stuff planned, and I said, well, hey, I haven't been able to catch up with you, so why don't I come over now? And she was like, how about give me 20 minutes? I was like, okay, because she had to get a shower. I was like, okay, I'll see you in 20 minutes or so. So I cooked some sausages and ate some of those and had some coffee, and I went over to go see her and got to visit with Mom a little bit. That was good. She looks good. She's been doing the keto diet as well, and she's lost quite a bit of weight, and we were comparing some of the meals and talking about how we're feeling and how healthy we both feel, and how she said that she had to go buy some new pants because none of her clothes fit. And I was like, right on. Good going. So it's kind of a good feeling. You know, this keto thing is not a weight loss diet. It is an insulin regulation diet, and weight loss just happens to be a side effect. And I'm happy losing the weight. People keep asking me all the time, do you have a goal? No, I don't have a goal. I would like to be under 200 pounds, but I do not have a goal. I'm just going to eat what I've been eating. If I get below 200 pounds, I'm not going to go, well, that diet's over with. I can move on. No, I'm going to keep doing this because I like it. I like eating this way. I feel great when I eat this way. And, you know, I talked to a few drivers this past week about this diet because a couple of them were asking me about it. They're like, wow, you've really lost a lot of weight. You look skinny. I'm like, well, thank you. And I was telling them about it, and they were asking me questions like, well, what about my cholesterol? What about this? What about? I was like, listen. And of course, I feel like information-wise, I am far down the road, and everybody else is trying to play catch-up, and they're not quite there. Like they have some of the information, and they're not getting all of it, and they're hearing half information, and it doesn't help that in the schools people are still teaching the food pyramid as though grains are the thing you need to eat the most of, when that's not true. The food pyramid is upside down. You need to be eating a little bit of grains. You know, I tell everybody like this. I said, listen, if you think about the history of humans, we ate meat that we either caught or raised, and and we had vegetables that we grew in our garden or that our neighbors grew in their garden, and we traded with them. If we got sugar, it was from fruit that somebody happened to have an apple tree, and like once in a while would be like, hey man, I got some apples. And of course we didn't have refrigeration for a very long time, so it's you eat it when it comes, and when it goes bad, that's it, no more. It's not like today where you can go to the grocery store and get anything that you want anytime. Now, during the 50s, or during the early 1900s, famine was a real issue in America. And scientists got involved with, let's see if we can make a more resilient crop. And they started messing with the genetics of the stuff, of the food, and making it last longer, which is great. And, you know, people didn't starve, which is a good thing. But then people got greedy and they started including sugar into everything. And in 1955, a bunch of Harvard scientists were paid off by the sugar industry to claim that fat was the reason for heart disease, when in fact it was sugars and cholesterol. I mean, sugars and carbohydrates. The fats are good for you. The fats are necessary. You actually need cholesterol in your body in order for brain function. Salt really doesn't affect your blood pressure. If you don't have sugar pressuring your whole system to try and operate, then salt does what it's supposed to do, helps flavor meat, helps you sweat out water, and it's a balance. Your body has a balance of the salt and the water in it. You can't just drink water without salt, and you can't just consume a lot of salt and not have water. So, anyway, the sugar industry, bad. Kellogg's, for pushing the whole grain issue, greedy and bad. And look at how human health has changed since the 50s. Look at how unhealthy we are now with childhood diabetes and overweight issues and strokes and memory loss and all sorts of other things with asthma. If you're on a glycogen-based diet, a hyperglycemic diet based on sugar, then your body overworks trying to process the sugar all the time. Everything in your body has to work to try and regulate your sugar level. So your pancreas works non-stop creating insulin to try and balance you out. If you notice, if you drink a lot of sugary drinks, you sweat a lot. That sweat is your body trying to burn off all the extra sugar. Now, you also get hangry whenever you're hungry because you can't stand the fact that you don't have sugar, because sugar is fast burning. Your body has made it fast burning so that you can consume more. Great news for the sugar industry because they can just keep pumping it out. If you're on a fat-based diet, your body doesn't have sugar to deal with. Your pancreas doesn't have to work overtime to create insulin. Your kidneys don't work extra hard to try and regulate the fluid levels in your body. And your liver produces something called ketones. And those ketones attack fat as food. That's it. That's the whole keto diet. When you have a fat-based diet and no sugar in your system, your body attacks fat as food. It eats fat as food. And the result is you end up burning fat, and you end up feeling not hangry anymore, and not stressed out about food, and not hungry like 10 minutes after you eat. You become satiated. You become full. And when you're full, you're like, all right, that's it. I'm good. You actually don't have to consume as many calories to feel full. When you're eating a meal of high-fat diet, I get my fat from meat a lot of times, or from avocados, or mayonnaise, or ranch dressing, or bacon. When I feel full, I'm like, all right, that's it. And I look at what I've eaten, I haven't really eaten that much. And I'm not hungry a minute later, or 20 minutes later, or an hour later, or 2 hours later. I'm full. I feel good. Now, I just got done eating this giant cowboy steak. And no, I did not eat all of it. I probably ate a third of it, and I'm fine. I feel great, and I didn't have any vegetables with it either, because my wife ain't here, and I just wanted the steak. That's all I wanted. Now tomorrow I'm gonna have a salad because I like salads, and then I got some broccoli lined up to have later in the week. It's not that I don't eat vegetables. I eat vegetables, but I eat mostly salads and broccoli and squash and zucchini. You know, I've cut out entire aisles of the grocery store. And is it more expensive to eat keto because you're eating a lot of meat? Maybe. Yeah, if you're not eating like dollar rice of prepared box meals or dollar potato meals. Yeah, it could be more expensive if you look at it that way. But I don't have any health problems. And I feel great. I feel better than I've ever felt. If anything else, I have to start buying new clothes because nothing fits me. Even this shirt I'm wearing, this is a 2X, and my shoulder is way down here on my arm, where it should be up here. So, there you go. Now, I did post some stuff on Instagram, and I tagged the Steak King. If you don't know, the Steak King is Paul Baldwin. He worked with Bert Kreischer on television shows such as Trip Flip, and I think he was on Bert the Conqueror. Anyway, Paul Baldwin makes television, and Bert had commented on his podcast, the Bertcast. The episodes that come out on Fridays are called Open Tabs, and that's just him going through his browser and talking about what he looked at in the last week. It's not sponsored. That show is just him showing on YouTube and talking about it on his podcast about things that he looked at over the past week. It's kind of a smart idea. It's sort of like a celebrity what's in your browser, you know what I mean? But he's a comedian, of course, so he's funny with it. And he's talking about, he looked on Instagram, and his buddy Paul Baldwin had an Instagram account for like 4 years and only had like 5 pictures and like 50 followers or something silly like that. And then out of the blue, he posted like a picture of a steak. And Bert got it in his head of, hey, listen, Paul doesn't listen to this podcast, and I want all my listeners to go onto his Instagram page. It's Paul_Baldwin, and just write on there nonstop about, oh my God, look at that steak. Oh, you totally killed it with that steak, dude. Wait, is that steak? Send more pictures of steak, and like just nonstop like berate this guy about information about steaks. He said, don't tell him it's us. Don't tell him it's me. Don't lead him on to any knowledge that this has anything to do with like a prank or anything. He goes, and like follow him. I want to see his Instagram followers grow. And I was like, oh, I'm into this. This is funny. This sounds like something me and my friends would do with somebody we know, just to be silly. So I was like, I am doing this. He now has, the Steak King now has 4,500 followers. 4,510 followers as of today. Today is November the 17th. Yeah, November the 17th. And his videos instantly took off with more pictures of steaks and more videos of steaks. And now he calls himself the Steak King. I think that may have come from something Bert did. But he calls himself the Steak King, and he knows about it now. Like, he's in on the joke now. And he even actually has some videos where he used Bert's voice from the podcast and like filmed stuff around Bert talking about the steaks, and it's hilarious. If you get a chance, go check it out. Paul, you're doing a great job, man. This is funny. And Bert, I dig the fact that you and Halston decided to do this. This is funny. I am sorry for that. That was loud. This is my lens cap for my camera that I happen to just play with for some stupid reason. I don't know why. Let me set that down so I don't keep doing that. Sometimes, man, you got to keep your eye on me. I start off with a good idea and then it turns bad. Case in point, I went with my stepdad today to help him with a large propane tank. I don't know exactly how many gallons, but it's a tremendous size propane tank. And it's pretty heavy. It's good to have like more than one person to handle something of this size. Anyway, he had two of them he needed to get filled. When we got there, one of them, the valve was broken and we can't fill it, but the other one we could. So we did that, and we went to the local flea market. Now, when I moved here in '85, the local flea market was the place to go on Saturday. Like, the mall really hadn't kicked off big yet. So almost everybody in town would go to the local flea market. It's a pretty big flea market. And you could spend hours there walking around. I have not been since I was a kid, since I was in high school. I used to go whenever my mom's mom would come visit, my Nana, Betty Tanksley. Whenever Nana would come, we would go up there on a Saturday, and she loved to find a bargain, and she would look around and shop around, and I would always, look for toys that I could afford with the $2 or $3 that I just happened to have on me. Of course, I never found one, but once in a while I'd find some little trinket or a weird looking little tiny pocket knife thing, and I'd be like, Mom, can I get this? And she'd be like, yes, just don't cut anything in the house. And I'm like, okay. I used to go out in the backyard and cut up little sticks and stuff, just boy stuff, you know what I mean? You always hear about, the kid getting the knife and cutting his finger, and yeah, I cut my finger, but I never told Mom I cut my finger, because that's what boys do. But anyway, I hadn't been since I was a teenager, and I'm 44 now, and I'm hanging out with Dan today, and Dan was like, hey, let's go to the farmer's market. I need to look around. I was like, I can go to the farmer's market. I thought, in my head, I'm thinking, I got $60 in my wallet. I can get a lot of crap at the farmer's market for $60. Not that I need to buy crap, but you know what I'm saying. You never know what you're going to find. Because, if people show up there and they're like, yeah, I'd have a yard sale, but nobody would show up at my house. So I just figured I'd come up here and get rid of it sooner. So anyway, we go up there and look around, and sure enough, I find some deals right off the bat. Not off the bat, but I found some deals, and I thought, no, I don't want to spend anything yet. I'm going to keep looking, because we just gotten started. So we kept looking. I found some cuticle scissors for $1. I know you guys are like, who gives a crap? Listen, I've been looking for cuticle scissors, and I didn't want to spend what they were charging, and $1 is a deal. They work great, and I thought all they need to be is cleaned. So I have Glass Plus here at the house, which is ammonia. I cleaned them with Glass Plus, and they're clean now, and they work great. $1. That's a good deal. I also found a speed square. A speed square is kind of like a carpenter square, but it's much smaller. I found a speed square for $3. I figured that was a good deal too. It's metal. It's about this big. I'm making an L with my hands so I can show you how big it is. It's about 5 by 5. It's a nice size speed square, and $3 is a bargain. So anyway, got that. Walked around. I had talked about the fact that I bought these iron grill grates that were on sale at Walmart, that the packaging was open, and I got them for $15. I'm regretting that now because I went to the farmer's market and they had brand new ones still in the original packaging for $5 a piece. 5 iron grill grates for $5 a piece. 1, 2, 3, 4, $5. I was like, man, crap. I could have just come up here and got them for $5. Blah. I was not super excited about that. I was actually pretty disappointed that I missed out on a good deal. I like a good deal. I like a good bargain. I guess I get that from Nana. Anyway, so I kept looking. There were a lot of tools there, and I have a lot of tools, and I wasn't really sure what tools I should look at or what I really needed. I don't really need any tools. I have a lot of tools. But it's nice to find like a deal once in a while. And that's kind of why my stepdad likes to look around there. He loves finding like a hidden treasure. And he did find like a wrench, like a socket wrench that was snap-on. And he was like, how much for the thing? And the guy told him $30. And he was like, yeah. And it was broken too. And he was like, you know, if I could have got it for like 10 or 15, like if he didn't really know what it was, and he was like, yeah, $10, then I could have got it and probably swapped it out because Snap-on swaps out their stuff and got a brand new one. And I could tell people, look, I got this for $10. But anyway, $30, that's pretty pricey. And he was like, I don't really need it. But it would be nice to have a Snap-on tool. I mean, I know like right now, if there's any women listening, you're like, what's the deal with Snap-on? Snap-on is like a Coach pocketbook. It's that for socket wrenches. You're like, ooh, this is nice. That's the same kind of deal. Or Louis Vuitton. You're like, ooh, this is nice. It's just well made. That's all it is. So anyway, we looked around. Dan found a couple of deals he liked. He did find a shovel. The guy was asking $15 for this shovel. It's a tough shovel and it's small. It's probably 3.5 feet. It's portable, very durable, heavy duty, and the guy wanted 15 for it, and he talked him down to 12. He offered him 10, and they settled in the middle at 12, which is good. That's a good deal. That shovel, I've bought that shovel. I have that exact same shovel that I bought from Lowe's, and I think I paid $25 for it. So, good deal. I did see a stand where this grandfather and his grandson were making fresh-made pork skins, and I was like, ooh, I like pork skins, especially when they're fresh, not, you know, packaged and shipped in a store and that kind of crap. Anyway, they had a deal going on where a bag of them was $4, or you get 3 of them for 11. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to eat more than one bag, so I might as well get 3 of them. And I got 3 of them, and I'm happy with that. And then I was walking around. We were kind of heading back, and I noticed that there was a mirror on sale. This beautiful mirror. It's probably 3 foot by 2.5 foot. It's got an ornamental wooden frame around it. Very decorative. And I asked the lady how much, and she said 15, and I said, sold. 15's a good deal. It's a nice looking mirror. I liked it. And I thought, you know, if I bring it home and the wife doesn't like it, okay, I spent $15 for it. If I have to, I'll put it in the garage or something. I mean, it's a nice mirror. I like it. So I got it. Hooray! Matter of fact, I came home. It didn't have any hanging hardware on the back, so I put some hanging hardware on it. I found a place for it and I hung it. And she'll come home and she'll be like, going about her business, and she probably won't even notice it because I put it on a wall we don't actually look at much. And it might be like a week or two she's listening to this podcast while she's going down the road, because weirdly enough, I found out my wife listens to my podcast. That's kind of weird. She's like, yeah, I listen to you all day, and then I come home and here you are, you're still talking. And I'm like, yeah, great. I appreciate it. I appreciate the fact that she cares. But she'll hear this down the road and go, oh yeah, I forgot to look at that mirror. And she'll come home and look at it and be like, I don't like it. Or she'll be come home and be like, oh yeah, it's nice, I like it. I'm hoping for the second reaction. We'll see what happens. Anyway, I came home and unpacked all the stuff that I got at Sam's and was really looking forward to cooking that cowboy steak. Now, Normally on a Saturday I get up super early and I run errands and I get stuff done, and then my wife's at the gym and she comes home and takes a shower and she's like, hey, let's take a nap. And I was like, done. But today, weirdly enough, I slept in till like 7. That's late for me. I know you guys are like, 7's not late. I sleep on Saturday till like 10 or 11. Well, good for you. You probably get up later than I do for work. I got up Friday at 3:30 in the morning to go to work. So sleeping until 7 is a luxury. I think I was in bed last night around close to 11. So that's 8 hours. I don't usually get 8 hours. I usually get maybe 6. So 8 hours is nice. And I didn't need a nap today. I came home, put everything away, and turned on college football. And what did I see? But Ohio State almost lose to Maryland. When I say almost lose, I mean when I turned the TV on, Ohio State was down by 7 with like less than a minute left, and it looked like they were trying to score to tie it. And I was like, whoa, this is really intense. They scored, tied it up, and there was still some time on the clock, and Maryland drove down the field and almost scored again before the end of the game. Now, it went to overtime. Right off the bat, Ohio State scores. Maryland gets a chance. They score, and they go for the 2-point conversion to end it, and they don't get it. Aw, dang. I'll tell you what, if you're a Maryland fan, you had to love the way your guys played today. That was so awesome. You guys really tried hard. I mean, golly. If you're Ohio State, you got to be thinking, wow, we barely got out of that. I'm glad nobody looks at the highlight reels down the road and says, you guys barely won. They go, all right, how many did you win? How many did you lose? Okay. If you watch that game, Ohio State looked like they were in trouble. And they are. They are in trouble. You know, earlier this year, they beat Penn State in Penn State, which is not easy to do this year. Penn State's got a really good football team. But then they look like garbage against Purdue. Purdue beat them at Ohio State. Purdue. Now, Purdue has had like a 5-5 season thus far. They haven't looked great. They've won against 2 ranked opponents and then lost to people who are not ranked at all. Just mediocre teams. Weird. Very weird. Purdue, you're almost on the verge of actually becoming a football team. I mean, a legitimate program. Golly, man. Purdue's Boilermakers, you know, growing up, I've always known that they had a decent basketball team. It's decent. I'm not going to say it's great or good. It's decent. But I have never thought about you guys as a football school. And this year, you guys are a football school. But anyway, it was a good game. It was exciting. Loved the finish. I turned on the TV on another channel, and Purdue was playing Wisconsin. And I thought, hey, there we go. And right off the bat, Purdue just started racking up the score. And I was like, okay, I can change this. Turn it over. Georgia's stomping the mud hole in UMass. And apparently after the Georgia game goes off, South Carolina Gamecocks are supposed to play Chattanooga. And I heard the announcer say that if the Gamecocks win, they're eligible for a bowl. Listen, we've had a crappy season. If we're eligible for a bowl, it's got to be like the bottom of the totem pole. Whatever bowl they offer us is probably the participation bowl. That's probably what it's going to be. We have not looked good this year at all. And when we play Clemson, it's not going to be pretty. Now, I will say this though. Here, let me pause my camera and restart it. My camera has a thing on it where it shuts itself off after 28, 29 minutes, or right around 30 minutes. Anyway, I will say this though. Clemson and South Carolina have a rivalry with each other. 2 schools. They're only separated by like an hour or so difference in drive time, 2 hours, something like that. And they're both in the state of South Carolina. And whenever they play each other hard because it's the last game of the season. It's a rivalry school in state. And, you know, when I moved here back in 6th grade, I remember I showed up in 6th grade as the new kid. Hey, new kid. And the first questions kids would ask you is, so you pulled for Clemson and Carolina? And I was like, I didn't watch college football at the time. I was like, I don't know what either one of those things are. What is it? What is a Clemson? What was that word? Now, these are kids who lived here their whole lives, and they're raised in families that pull for that kind of stuff, and they didn't understand that when you move from somewhere else, maybe you're not aware of the local stuff. Because back then we didn't have a bajillion channels and access to the internet and all kind of information coming your way all the time. Back then we had 3 channels if we were lucky, and you watched whatever was local, and usually sports weren't on a whole lot. There was no ESPN. So it took me a while to actually follow college sports, even longer to find a team that I could root for. And I don't know what really made me pull for South Carolina. I honestly think it was my buddy Jay Darnell that I worked with at Coca-Cola. He was such a super fan that he got me excited about them and started pulling for them. So Jay, this infection that I have, which is a love for a team who had lots of great seasons under Coach Spurrier and has since suffered. Thank you for weirdly turning me into what I call a struggling team fan. Sort of like being a Cleveland Browns fan or a Chicago Cubs fan. You're like, one day we're gonna win, but till then, go Gamecocks, you know. Which is fine. It's fine. I don't care. I don't care. It doesn't affect my day any direction. Like, I listen to people talk about if they're like super fans. I'm not a super fan of pretty much anything. No, I take that back. I've misspoke. I'm a super fan of Joe Rogan. I'm a super fan of Bert Kreischer. I'm a super fan of those people. I'm not a super fan of any sports team. I used to be a super fan of Michael Jordan until I heard his Hall of Fame speech, and he was a complete jerk. Weirdly enough, when he got inducted into the Hall of Fame, that same show was David Robinson's Hall of Fame speech, and that was the speech that should be written in stone as, look, this is the way you accept a Hall of Fame inductee announcement. Because David Robinson right off the bat said thank you to God for making me 7'2" and for giving me the ability to play this game, because there are a lot of tall people who can't play. Thank you for all the coaches that saw in me something and inspired me and pushed me. He thanked teammates, and he thanked, you know, Tim Duncan was in the crowd. He said, Tim, if you hadn't come, we wouldn't have won a championship. Popovich, if you weren't our coach, we wouldn't have won a championship. I mean, I wouldn't be standing on the stage if it wasn't for all these elements that came into play. Because he realized the bigger picture. He had humility. He was humble. He said, thank you to all these things that happened so that I could be on the stage of winning, so that I'm here in front of you now. Because I had very little to do with this. I did put in a lot of effort, but I had very little to do with my success. There's a lot of things that came together to make this happen. And then he thanked the fans. He said, I gotta be honest, I couldn't do this for a living if you guys didn't show up, if you guys didn't cheer, if you guys didn't watch us, if you guys didn't buy my jersey. I couldn't be here. I wouldn't be on the stage. And he's right. That is the speech that you wanted to hear. Jordan got up there and he was just a jerk. Just a jerk. I'm not even going to tell you what he said. Just know that as a super fan, I was not a super fan after that. Now, don't take away from the fact that I still think he's better than LeBron. Yeah, I said it. You know why? Because if you're the best, people don't compare you to other people. Did I say that right? Stephen A. Smith said it. He said, when LeBron's the best, then people compare them to you. Until then, everybody's compared to Jordan. And that's the truth. That's the way that's the measuring stick. You know why people always talk about Tom Brady and they say, was he as good as Steve Montana? Did I say that right? Yeah. No, I just combined two people. Joe Montana, Steve Young. I'm tired. You can tell I'm mixing up words. Joe Montana, 5 Super Bowls, 5 rings. and they say, is Brady as good? I don't know. You're comparing him to Joe Montana. Some things to think about. I'm going to cut this off. I've gone 35 minutes. I know you guys are bored already. Byron, hey man, I know you're out there working. I appreciate you sticking in all the time. If anybody knows Byron Covington, give him a high five for me, because he is super awesome and an E7 in the National Guard, tank commander. If you were a Marine, I'd hoorah you, but you're not. So I'm sure you're quite effective in your job though, and I respect you. To everybody else out there, if you're serving, God bless you. If you're overseas, I'm sorry. Thank you for doing what you do. If you happen to not be able to make it home for the holidays, just know that I feel you. I understand. And thank you. Think about people you work with, and think about people who's lost loved ones recently, like husbands, wives, mothers, and that kind of stuff. And maybe invite them to come eat Thanksgiving with you, so that they have a sense of family or belonging or thankfulness. There's a lot of people out there committing suicide who are super famous, and they talk about how even in their fame they feel alone. Regular people do too. So if you're feeling lonely, like, reach out, talk to somebody. I know a lot of people commit suicide during the holidays. Don't do it. You got an opportunity. You got an opportunity for something to happen in your life, and you just got to make it happen. That's all. If you need help, ask for help. Something I learned from Adam Carolla a long time ago. He said, one of the things I've learned is that the people who succeed in life love nothing more than to share with you how to succeed. And he's right. If you got a bunch of loser friends around you that just want to talk about how about being losers, then get new friends. Start talking to people who are succeeding and say, hey, I'd like to hang out with you. I'd like to learn more. I'd like to change my life. And they would love nothing more than to help you. But you gotta listen. So here I go. I wrapped up even more time. Y'all take care. I'll do this again on Tuesday. Bye now.